So guys, in today's video, I want to go over a quick coverage of what exactly the Storm Surge changes were to this brand new season. With the update of Chapter 4 Season 2, a lot of brand new changes have been added to the game, but one of them that's really important for competitive players is that the Storm Surge values have changed. There's going to be differences with the solos and duos playlist versus the trios playlist, and I want to go over exactly what the changes are and how you can compensate for them in today's video. Now be sure to use code SonataYT in the Fortnite item shop if you guys do want to support me. Let's hop right into this video. So to start off, I want to go over all of the various Storm Surge changes for the solos and the duos playlist. Now this is specifically in the update of 24.00, which basically means Chapter 4 Season 2. There have been new Storm Surge values added to these two playlists. First off, the Storm Surge from Zones 0 and 1 has been completely removed, which is actually very interesting. Then, the Storm Surge from Zones 2 and 3 has been changed to 90 players alive. So if you're in Zones 2 and 3 and there's more than 90 players alive, you're going to be having Storm Surge in those lobbies. Then for Zone 4, it's 78 players. 78 players during Zone 4 is actually a very large amount, so it's very unlikely that you're going to be seeing this Storm Surge actually pop up unless you're in the most stacked of stacked lobbies. Within Zone 5, 64 players need to be alive for a Storm Surge to pop. Zone 6 is going to be having 54 players. Zone 7 is going to have 44 players. Zone 8 is going to be 40 players. And then zones 9 through 12 is going to be 30 players. Now, I really enjoy this change, simply because this is basically nerfing Storm Surge to the point where it's not going to be popping up as much and you won't really need to worry about surge damage as much. You can more worry about how to actually position and play throughout the game, and then when Storm Surge does pop up, you can kind of deal with the tags then. Within the solos and duos playlist, I think that the way that you're going to need to change your gameplay is based upon the zone, so I want to go over exactly what you should change based upon the zone in this brand new meta. So obviously there's no Storm Surge in Zones 0 and 1, so don't really worry about that. However, in Zones 2 and 3, there's going to be 90 players needed for Storm Surge to actually be active. And even though this is very unlikely, there is one small tip that I would recommend to you guys if you can actually try to do it. It would just protect you from this even if there is a small chance that it happens. What you can do is when you land in the game, you can try to get a weapon, maybe land on the roof of your POI or the roof of a building, and maybe look around at other people flying to other different POIs around the map and maybe try to get some tags on them, try to beam them. Just look around to get any amount of damage that you possibly can off the rip, and then your damage is going to be needed way less for you guys as soon as Storm Surge may eventually pop with 90 players alive in Zones 2 and 3. And then in Zone 4, the difference that I would make to your guys' gameplay is that you don't really need a surge route anymore. What you guys can really just do is just rotate on your normal rotating route, whether that's dead side, whether that's rotating through the congested side and trying to get eliminations. And while you're on these different routes, I'd recommend that you guys simply just try to look for tags on enemy players that are running around the area. Even if this is the spare 20 tag or the spare 12 damage tag that you can do with pistols, it's still a very valuable way to actually get your Storm Surge damage and just in case have it in case you need it if the Storm Surge does pop. Once again though, it's pretty unlikely that it will, considering that 78 players is quite a large number. For Zone 5 being 64 players, this is where it might get a little bit more realistic. Obviously depending on the zone that you're in, Zone 5 is the zone with the most players statistically, so it is slightly more likely that in this zone you may be having some Storm Surge issues. However, it's still not that likely if I'm honest. And if it is, there's going to be a likely chance that all the Storm Surge will easily go away as soon as some players die. However, what you guys should probably do is just box up and maybe just look for tags on a couple of people running around. However, there's really no need to actually look for serious full tags on people, because I think instead of actually having Storm Surge, the aggressive players are going to be trying to W key nowadays. I'll get more into that later in this video. For Zone 6 and for Zone 7, there's going to be 54 and 44 players respectively. Now this is the point in the game where I really don't think you're going to be dealing that much with Storm Surge anymore. You're going to have enough damage, you're going to be looking at small various areas to look for players to tag. I'd recommend you just keep trying to rotate, focus on actually winning the game and trying to get elimination points. Don't really worry about actually trying to fight people, looking for Storm Surge damage. You really won't need it necessarily. Same thing comes with Zone 8 being 40 players needed. Even if Storm Surge does pop, there's a very likely chance that the Storm Surge values will actually go below the required threshold and you're going to be having 39 players very quickly and Storm Surge will be cancelled. And then for Zones 9 through 12, it says 30 players or more. As soon as that 30 player threshold is beaten, there's absolutely no point in looking for any surge tags and you just really want to focus on trying to win the game at that point. So for the solos and duos playlist, that's a really comprehensive, understandable idea and a really easy way to figure out exactly how to play based upon each zone in Storm Surge. But overall, the benefit of these solos and duos playlist changes is that Storm Surge has been nerfed and you're less likely to need to worry about it. Now moving on to the trios playlist. I am going to be covering this because there are some trios tournaments this season that you guys might want to worry about. But basically the Storm Surge changes in this is that there's no Storm Surge in Zone 0 and 1. Zones 2 and 3 once again is 90 players. Zone 4 once again is 78 players. Zone 5 is 63 players alive. Zone 6 is 54. Zone 7 is 42. Zone 8 is 39. And then obviously zones 9 through 12 are 30 players at the end. These are actually pretty similar values, only differing by about 1 or 2 within the regard of solos and duos playlists. And I wouldn't really change any of my recommendations here for how you guys played throughout all of these zones. Zones 2 and 3, maybe look for some early game tags when you're landing. Zone 4, try to be rotating and try to get tags on people running around. Zone 5, maybe box up and try to spray people. Zone 6 and 7, while you're rotating, maybe look for a couple tags. Zone 8, I would recommend you to try to maybe get an elimination, because by that point you may need a refresh. And then zones 9 through 12, you're pretty much not going to have Storm Surge, and even if you do, just maybe try to get another tag. There's really no point in stressing over it. I'm really happy with these Storm Surge changes, and overall the trios playlist isn't that much more different than the solos and duos. And then the final aspect of what I was trying to say is that how will these changes affect the competitive playstyle? Personally, what I think that's going to happen is that a lot of the players that aren't very good at fighting and that aren't that aggressive will actually stop W keying now. They're going to try to play more passive and look for passive player points. And then vice versa, the players that are very aggressive, that are very good fighters, they're going to be looking to W key those passive players that aren't looking for fights. Because now those players don't need to worry about Storm Surge, those players can worry just about trying to get elimination points if they need it. Now what I think is generally going to happen is that the aggressive players are going to get more aggressive and fight better, and then the passive players are going to get more passive and learn how to play placement a lot better. So you guys definitely need to watch out for these aggressive players that are running around, especially during endgame. They're probably going to try to jump into your box and try to get elimination points. And also something that's really different is that people won't actually see that you're taking Storm Surge damage as much, considering that it's less likely for you guys to be under the Storm Surge threshold. So the decision making of who you fight is going to change a lot. You're not going to be able to decide who you want to fight based upon who's taking Storm Surge damage and who's not. So while aggressiveness will increase, it also will change because people don't know exactly how good the players they're fighting are. But those are the general changes to Storm Surge this season, guys. I'm really happy with these changes. I think it's going to make competitive a lot more skill-based rather than RNG and just general positioning and drop spot-based. I really enjoyed making this video for you guys. I actually find Storm Surge to be one of the most interesting concepts of competitive and how pro players deal with it. If you like this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know why you liked it in the comment section. I've been actually meaning to get some feedback from you guys. But that's about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.